Good morning, everyone. Myself Priya, and I am project associate at iCreate Ahmedabad. And about iCreate, you may know about iCreate. iCreate is a Section 8 company, and which is established under visionary of guidance, Honorable Chief Minister of former Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Sri Narendra Modi, and its autonomous excellence incubation not only on technology center. We handle ev, energy, health, edtech, every sector we are working on. And we are based out of Dholera, which is 45-50 kilometer away from Ahmedabad. And here we have resident startup. Those are taking from incubation support from iCreate. We also support from Department of Science and Technology, ICR. So there are different partner body we already have. Also in G20 and W20, we were president for that. And yeah, so recently we also collaborate with some of international agency like Israel, US, Poland, and recently we launched our EV challenge, which is Evangelize 3, and problem statement and themes already on social media platform. Yeah, so the difference what I create, which is 50 in PPP model, which is joint venture of GMDC and GEBFP. So this is the structure for in iCreate, and our funding members, those are from technical tech entrepreneur. Some of they are founding of some major startup in Gujarat. Yeah, so this is about iCreate, and I'll pass to Abhishek, Neha, and Bhavika. Please introduce yourself and your challenge. Yeah. Abhishek, can we take a quick round of introduction from startup as well, and the participant who are joined?
Sorry, yeah, I
No,
was
I
not
think
able to hear.
Abhishek, I think she's asking if we want to do a quick round of introductions with the
Cool.
startups. Since we're not a lot of people, I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
to get an idea of what everyone's backgrounds.
okay. So as Ria already told, so we can have a round of discussion in terms of the introduction. With the list of participants here, I can see 10. So
Abhishek, Bhavika, Neha, you also can introduce yourself first, so then we can start one round of introduction from startup as well. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I could just start. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm so sorry. There's crazy traffic this morning. I really appreciate your time joining us today morning. And actually, we might not have to stay for the 2 hours. We can try and finish this within the next 1 hour if possible, so that you all also have quality time to yourself. I'm Neha. I'm part of the Dalberg group. I also represent the entire secretariat. We are working very, very closely with the GEAPP, which is the Global Alliance for People and Planet. And our aim is really to um, orient startups one-on-one about the innovation challenge and what incentives does it have to offer in return. And this is where the session is really planned for today. Once we have done with a very quick round of introduction, I will take you through the larger thinking of the entire challenge, as well as happy to answer any of the questions that you may have specifically around the challenge. So again, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the session. Abhishek, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hi, Ria and everyone. So I look after technical things in GEAPP. So I'm an electrical engineer by education, and I've been in this renewable energy field since last 10 years. So presently I'm looking after this particular project called ENTICE under GEAPP.
Thank you, Abhishek. Hi, everybody. I'm Bhavika. I work with the advocacy and communications team at GEAPP, and we work on coming up with programs like these where we can reach out to more partners and kind of build towards a vision for GEAPP at large. I've been in climate communications for the last 5 to 6 years, and I'm happy to answer any questions about GEAPP and what the organization does. And happy to be here. And thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Avika, Neha, and Abhishek. So we can start from our joining registered those startups. So you can share your name, your startup name, and just a brief about your startup. Okay. So I can start calling name Akash. Can you just introduce yourself? Just quick round of
Yeah,
introduce. Yeah.
yeah. Hi, good morning. My name is Akash. I'm a CEO of Gyrodrive Machineries Private Limited, and we are working in a flywheel energy storage system. And we are then EV Angelize winners of 2022. So we are working on a motor and controller for EV space, and some application we are finding out in flywheel energy storage systems. And my background is I am a PhD from Indian Institute of Science, Interdisciplinary Center for Energy and Research. So we have started this company in 2018, and we have grabbed an from Airport Authority of India in flywheel energy storage. So we got a funding of like 2 CR at that time, but till now we didn't get that. And we are the winner of EV Angelize last year. So this is my background.
Yeah.
So we are
Thank
based.
you so much, Akash.
So we are based in Pune. Okay. Thank you.
So next, anyone can start yourself introducing. Chandra Kumar. Hello. Sanjay Patel, can you just introduce yourself, your name, your startup, and brief about your startup?
हेलो मैडम, हिंदी में बोल
Yes.
सकते हो?
हाँ हाँ.
ओके। मेरा नाम संजय पटेल है। मेरी अभी जो फर्म चल रहा है शिव एनर्जी के नाम से चल रहा है, शिव एनर्जी। मैं काम कर रहा हूँ सोलर थर्मल पे, सोलर थर्मल एनर्जी स्टोरेज सिस्टम और सोलर थर्मल पे काम कर रहा हूँ। जो अभी दूधसागर डेयरी में मैंने अपना एक प्लांट लगाया है, थोड़ा छोटा सा। अभी जो पानी होता है, जो वाटर वेस्ट होता है, इसको क्लीन करने के लिए वाटर ट्रीटमेंट लगाया है। सोलर पैराबोलिक ट्रप कलेक्टर होता है, सोलर पैराबोलिक ट्रप कलेक्टर, सोलर लीनियर कॉन्स्टेंट सिस्टम जो होती है, सोलर डिस्क कलेक्टर होती है, ऐसे सिस्टम में खुद डेवलप कर रहा हूँ, इसके पे काम कर रहा
Okay, thank you so much, Sanjay. Yeah.
हूँ।
Saurabh Raj, can you just introduce yourself and your startup?
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. This is Saurabh. So my startup is Pirano, which is about a decentralized exchange for carbon credits. And carbon credits have a lot of challenges on the other side of the energy industry, where people are trying to offset their carbon, activity or emissions by purchase of carbon credits. So today we are just pre-launch. We are launching this month, and once we launch, we'll be the first carbon credit exchange of India, and powered by blockchain as a technology, probably first or second in the entire world. That is where we are. So distributed technology, and that is where the energy distribution, which is the theme of this program, is very interesting. Thank you.
Yes. So we have Chandra Kumar and Anderson Samit. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, very good morning. My name is Anderson. So my startup name is Powered Electron, and we are actually a company that is working on printable solar modules, not panels. Means not cells, but printable solar modules, where we are screen printing entire solar modules. And with also we are working with CSIR, that is CCRI CSIR at Chennai, with a new semiconductor material also for the proprietor based printable solar modules. So we were founded in the year 2021. It's around 2 years now. All right. We also received funding from the Startup India Seed Fund scheme. All right, for it. So our main aim and goal is to make solar modules as cheap as possible and as have a high quality, so that most of the consumers can go ahead and adopt solar energy, right, as their main source of energy for electricity and everything. So that is a brief introduction of my company and what we are working on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anderson. Yeah, Mr. Rajesh has joined recently. Can you just introduce yourself, Rajesh?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I just now have joined and I don't know what is the context happening.
Yeah, so
Uh,
just your startup name and your brief about your startup working on.
yeah, fine, fine. So we are from Dynolt Technologies, and we're working on solar for the past few years. We are into power conversion domain. We do a lot of products in solar power conversion, and recently uh, we have signed up JVs with major tier ones in India for manufacturing for solar charging with EVs. So we want, and that comes in the distributed energy for renewables. We want to even feed power into the grid with the EV batteries and use solar as a proponent for charging the batteries. So we are a group of ITNs and working in this field for about 8 years. And we have already catered to multiple solar related products like solar water pumps and also solar inverters and solar inverters and things like that for various companies. And now we are working on this product so that we don't have to sell the IP. So far, we have been selling the IPs to various companies. Now we don't want to sell the IPs, and that's where we thought we'll apply for this investments given our expertise in renewables. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So we've done with the startup introduction. So thank you so much of all joined with us. And with us, our head of programs and initiatives, Siddharth Parekh, also joined with the call. Yeah, so I can pass to Neha Abhishek, please carry on.
Yeah, I am going to share my screen very quickly, and you know, I'm going to just cut through a lot of the introduction that we have in the PPT. I hope you guys can see my screen. Can you confirm, Ria?
Yeah, Neha, we
Is
can
my
see
screen
this.
visible? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. So just to give you a little bit of background of why we're really here and about GEAPP, like I mentioned, GEAPP is an alliance of 19 members and it was formed at COP26. The lead funding members for GEAPP has been the Rockefeller Foundation, IKEA Foundation, and the Bezos Earth Foundation. And in terms of the motivation why the alliance was really formed was at two broad level of thinking, which was one is that apologies, irrespective of the the work that's already happening in the climate space, how can we really expedite the innovation, and for that how do we raise capital to support the innovation? So those were the two broad pillars of thinking where GAP has really emerged. In terms of the entice, and the thinking behind entice really emerged and stemmed out of the four broad challenges that we identified as part of our market research, also based on a lot of one-on-one conversations that we have had with the startups, which was that you might have a great solution, but in terms of the infrastructure access, prototyping, implementing, all of that, generally is slower, specifically in India, and that's because technically you don't have the right infrastructure to operate on. So technical challenges remain, one big stream of areas that we wanted to look at very, very closely, followed by financial challenges. So even though in last 10 years, I think the climate space, climate tech definitely has taken a bump in terms of, the funding, but naturally that's not enough, right? So for a lot of startups to still scale and enter global markets, the kind of funding that you all require is much more. And most of the innovation challenges that you see would offer either the seed funding or they would offer Series C funding. That's really when you have matured as a startup and you have established some sort of profitability and margins already, so investors feel more confident. So the area where we saw a big lag was if you wanted to transition from seed funding to, let's say, a Series A and a Series B. That's where the gap was. So our Entice program is also focused specifically on offering Series A funding. The third one was the regulatory challenges, specifically when it comes to deployment. We might connect you to the market, and then, most of the challenges will leave you to it. So how do you then go about deploying that solution in the market, even if you are setting up a solar plant or, having a transformer or a manufacturing or anything to do with manufacturing? The kind of policies and regulations that you need to follow is definitely a bit complex right now. So the program is also planning to look at that part. And the last is, even if we are supplying, the products from our end, from the startup world, are consumers really taking those, are they really adopting those into their households or, day-to-day activities? So how do we then balance the supply and demand side of it? And for that, we are also going to focus on skill building and mentorship so that your product is in line with what consumers really need and how can that be incentivized for adoption. So those are really the broad level thinking of why Entice really stemmed in this regard. Um, the approach which Entice is taking, really, instead of GAP leading the whole thing, we are probably the umbrella organization, but our focus is really to work with a lot of partners who already are from the sector, who already understand, um, who already am I audible, or are you all hearing a lot of noise? Should I switch to some other place, Ria? I don't know if I'm audible clear enough. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, yes,
I'll
but
just switch inside actually. Yes. So instead of doing things alone, I think GAP is really focused on solidifying partnerships. So we are working with a lot of other partners from the sector who have a really good understanding of the climate space as a whole. That's a model of working. And there are three basic incentives that you could expect if you were to join the entire challenge. One was in terms of the funding. We are really looking at Series A funding. And for this, GAP has already committed a $10 million fund. Our aim is naturally to now work with VCs, investors, to raise that fund capital above, $200 million over next 1 or 2 years. But yeah, for this year itself, just for 2023, there is a budget of $10 million that is already being committed by GAP, and we naturally are now in the process of increasing that capital. So that's going to be one opportunity for you to secure funding. The second area is market linkage and market deployment, and we are using those terms very strategically because market linkage would mean that I could have connected you with let's say, Tata Power, but what about the deployment side of it? Really taking your product towards the commercialization stages where the program is focused on. So those are the second areas of interest that we will be taking forward. And the third one is, naturally, we will connect you with industry experts and mentors to kind of take things forward for market expansion, clarifying any doubts that you may have, etc. Um, this is the broad milestones and some of the major timelines that might be of interest. We're just going to run very, very quickly through this. Entice is fairly very new. It's just 2 months old. We actually launched ourselves in June. So 10th of June, we launched the challenge of Entice in India. Between June and July, our focus was really to amplify, having one-on-one interaction with the roadshows. And this is where this session is also coming along. August and October, our focus will be shifting towards the technical evaluations and the due diligence of the shortlisted startups, followed by October, where we will arrange 1 month of virtual mentorship model where we are working with a lot of industry experts, getting them onboarded so that you have a one-on-one opportunity to interact with them, followed by something called as the entice and the marketplace. So there are two set of jury members where you will be pitching to. One is the entire jury. So we are joined by 7 to 8 people from the industry who will be evaluating the last leg of entire solutions as part of the challenge. Alternatively, we are also going to organize an individual investors market place where we are calling individual investors, GCs, to directly speak to the startup. So apart from the $10 million fund that GAP is committing through entire jury, you also will have another opportunity to secure funding beyond just that $10 million. So just wanted to clarify that there are two parallel round of marketplaces that we are going to organize. And all of this is going to be summarized as part of something called as the India Energy Transitions Dialogue. Now, this is a policy-led dialogue that is going to happen for 3 days in November. All the winning teams would be awarded by the Prime Minister Modi. So he is going to be there at the event along with a few other organizations, Prime Minister of Norway, Niti Aayog, ADB. So all those people who have really good experience in climate and can really now help shape policies based on their experience will all be part of that event. And naturally, if you are the shortlisted candidate, then you will also be part of that. So those are the 4 to 5 bigger milestones that we are looking at. And now, actually, I'm just going to deep dive directly into the challenges for this year. I heard 2 to 3 organizations in terms of the intro, and I think there is some synergy with a few. And as in when we go along, I hope that we would be able to clarify doubts that you might have. So Entice 2023 is focusing on 4 broad areas under renewable energy. The first one is the energy storage system, which is how do you propose a solution for energy storage system which has a capital cost of $200 per kilowatt of any chemistry, or even repurposing of batteries. And by this, what we really mean is that can your solution achieve this specification, which is 15,000 INR or $200 per kilowatt hour with electricity generation of or storage of 100 megawatt hour. That's precisely what we are saying. If you look at all the challenges before anyone comments, I do want to mention that the challenges will look very very specific. The reason for that is these are some of the industry standards that we have actually kind of inculcated based on our research, based on a lot of conversations, and even towards the net zero goal, what government is focused on. But this is not to say that your solution has to have these specifications right away. So you can propose whichever stage of solution you are at. For example, if you're not at 15,000 INR, but you are at, let's say, 20,000 INR per kilowatt, you can still apply. You will have to just explain how much of time, how much of funding, what kind of capital you might require to bring that cost from 15,000 to, let's say, 18,000, from 18,000 to 15,000. So what is your journey going to look like to be able to make this transition possible? So that's the first challenge, right? I see somebody's hand is up, and I'll come back in just a minute's time. I'll just go through all the challenges one by one, and then we can take any questions that you may have. So that's on the energy storage system. The second one is the your distributed renewable energy aggregation. Again, we are looking at a tech-based platform for DRE aggregation specifically, which should be able to produce an electricity or aggregation of 100 megawatt. Now, again, this is indicative. You don't have to stick by something like this, but our hope is that eventually the startups that work with our ecosystem are able to achieve that specification over next 1 year or 2 year, and we should be able to support you through that journey. That's the differentiation that we want to make. The third challenge is a little bit connected to DRE, but slightly different. It's not focused on the aggregation, but it is really focused on bringing the tariff down. So once you have now, let's say, generated the electricity through your DRE aggregation, how can you make that electricity affordable, cost effective for consumers, for industries, etc. So the third challenge is really on the affordability aspect of that, right? So how do you then bring the DRE tariff down to, let's say, rupees 4 per unit or lower with a minimum capacity of 20 kilowatt? Again, rupees 4 per unit can be a really tough figure to achieve. So there is no expectation from us that you have to be at rupees 4 per unit or lower right away. Even if you are working at, let's say, 15 rupees per unit or 10 rupees per unit, still explain your product and how much of time and what kind of iterations you would be making to lower that tariff down even further? And eventually, can you achieve rupees 4 per unit as the specification in how many years, what kind of capital you might need, etc. So that's on the affordability side of the electricity. And the last one is around smart metering solutions. Smart meters are readily available, that's for sure. But in terms of the solution that we are looking at, specifically for Entice, we are looking at some sort of dashboard or AI, MI based tool that can really capture the load patterns, can control the metering, billing, collection process, etc., and eventually can help users in the space to improve the performance and efficiency of the household equipment. So those are the four broad challenges. I see somebody's hand is already up. Since I'm sharing my screen, I won't be able to see your name, but if you may unmute yourself and directly go for the question.
Yeah, Upendra, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. I'm a CEO of a Luxus for India Private Limited. I couldn't introduce earlier. Now I just want to introduce and just ask the question. Okay, we are into Luxus for is the, pioneered in indigenous development of hydrogen fuel cell. Okay, for different applications. From 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt up to 20 kilowatt, we are design and developing this hydrogen fuel cell for a different application. So my question is, we are proposing a smart energy storage system, which is at a smaller scale, whether the solution can be replacement of that battery, the fuel cell can be used in that application. And what is the minimum scale you are expecting, and then we'll scale it up. That is what our plan is. Using hydrogen fuel cell. Hello? I'm not able to hear. I'm already applied this challenge, but I have got some queries. I want to resolve these queries, man. Neha, you are able to hear me?
I think there's some connectivity issue at their end.
Okay, I will just switch off my. Is it okay now? Are
No,
you
no,
able to
actually,
hear?
I think it's that
No, it's
Neha's.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could hear you. Do you
Okay,
want
I'll
to?
repeat.
Can you? I guess.
I'll repeat again once again.
The questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So myself, I will just once again introduce myself. I am Upendra Paluri. I am a CEO of a Luxus for India Private Limited, and we are into indigenous development of hydrogen fuel cell for different applications. Okay, and so I have read through this challenge, and I am in the process of applying this the phase one, and I have few queries. So instead of battery, whether this solution with a hydrogen fuel cell can be used up to 20 kilowatt, we can demonstrate, and then we'll scale it up.
Yeah, just a minute, Pendra. Let
Yeah.
me move project.
The
Yeah,
first problem
so
only.
just a minute, Upendra. Let me show you the. Yeah. If you see this particular slide, okay.
Right.
So here it is mentioned fuel cells and all. So if you see the
Okay.
challenge in details, we are talking about a price range per kilowatt hour, correct? We are not talking about any specific, kind of thing. It can be fuel cells, it can be VRLA,
Yes.
refurbished
Correct.
batteries,
Correct.
lithium ion, whatever it is, gravity
Okay.
based. So I hope that answered your question, right?
So you mean to say the total cost of capital cost should be around 15,000 INR per kilowatt.
Yes, that is the
Whatever
target price.
target price. Okay.
Yeah.
Will means in our proposal all these things will be, we have to mention it right now or for
Yeah,
applying.
in the website where you are applying, you have to mention
Yeah.
the things. For example, you are in, as Neha said, you are into the manufacturing process of, for example, in 19K or 20K. Okay. So what kind of support or what kind of timelines you are saying to reach that particular level of 15K per
Correct.
kilowatt
Correct.
hour?
What is our plan is, we will first demonstrate with some thing, right? With the
Mhm.
10 or 20 kilowatt stack, and we'll demonstrate what is there. Then we will with your um, uh, we will scale it up based on that
Yeah,
trial.
yeah. So if you see the lot size of 100 megawatt hour, so being specific to the challenges, if you see, these are all high level challenges faced by the discoms at this point of time,
Correct. Correct. Right.
technically. Okay. So
Right.
for example, if you have a storage, if you have a solution, but if you don't have the capacity to scale up to 100 megawatt hour, that is of no sense to produce a solution and you cannot scale. So in that line of sight, we have created this thought process of having 100 megawatt hour in a year
Yeah,
capacity to
yeah,
reach.
yeah. That will do it. Subsequent 1 year time, we will do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
First 6 months, that is the target, and then we'll scale it up to that 100 megawatt.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
Yeah. So okay, I got your this one, and I'll explain. I will submit this for our proposal.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions? Any technical questions from
And
anyone?
Hi,
even if we are in the POC stage, we can apply, na? Right now, because the time is for, I think, 2 years down the line, na? This challenge is for.
So this is ENTICE 2023 challenge. For example, this is the first year. So
Yeah.
while having the program or project set up and do the funding and other due diligences and all, it may need another 4 to 5 months technically, and then post deployment we need another probably 1 year. So it's a
Okay.
year one at this point of time. It would be
Yeah.
probably year two and year three. And this is
Yes.
what we can see at this point of time, but it can increase also.
So definitely, then we can meet our targets. So in the
Yeah,
6 months, we can develop a 10 kilowatt, and then
yeah,
next we'll demonstrate in front
yeah,
of that, and then we can scale it up to whatever in a 1 year's time. Definitely,
yeah,
we can scale it up.
yeah. Great.
Yeah. And is there any hydrogen, green hydrogen storage? Any person is there? Because we are into hydrogen consumption of green hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are means we are developing the solution for different. Not an once the hydrogen is produced, our work will start actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but yeah, that's different people are there. We'll collaborate with them. Right party is there. No problem. Okay.
It's up to you how you want to collaborate. You can be
Yeah, yeah, we'll do that.
entity
We'll do that.
supported by, for example, X entity or Y entity. It's up to you.
Correct, correct. That will do. Not an issue. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, Neha. And I think okay. So can I? No issue. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very much,
Sanjog.
Neha. Yeah.
Yeah, Sanjog,
hello.
you have queries, right? Yeah.
Hi, Abhishek Sanyog this side
Yeah,
from EV.
yeah.
So we are into battery swapping and EV charging, but we do it via solar,
Okay.
right?
Great.
So we have a ready product already started deploying in the market, and we
Mm-hmm.
have more product coming in line for electric cars in terms of you can say power bank for cars. But it is just in research based. It's still doesn't reach to prototype stage till now. So just wanted
Okay.
to relate it with your challenge, like which product would be more suitable and would be more relatable with this. As I said, we have a battery swapping machine. It is already started. We have started deploying it.
Hmm.
but it is optional to the customer if they want, because ultimately deploying solar swapping station is costlier for the partner. So not all these stations are solar, but it depends on a partner to deploy it. So I just wanted to understand which of the product would be more relatable with your challenge, and what is your
See,
initial my comment.
yeah. See, so as we said, this is first year of us, and the challenge that we have, placed at this point of time are keeping the discoms into consideration. If you see energy storage solution having a lot size of 100 megawatt hour, it means for a normal customer like EV charging station or any person, this megawatt hour is not able to uh, getting consumed in terms of the capacity. So this is basically, if you see, the underlying meaning is BESS, battery energy storage system for grid or grid tied systems. So this is a large scale system for the battery storage. If you see the application, this is a challenge for the application of battery energy storage system for the discoms. So probably for the next year, set of challenges for ENTICE 2024, we are having multiple, entries, means not entries, I should say, updates on EV and mainly and hydro power and EV. So probably if the challenges suits you this year, that's okay. Otherwise, for the next year, we may frame our questions or frame our challenges based on the inputs that we are getting on EV charging or swapping station, what you're talking about. So at this point of time, I don't think your solution is meeting this particular challenge of energy
So
storage.
your challenge is basically more focused on creating the energy from some of the sources, right? It is not about the storage and delivering it to end consumer in a lower cost and
So
uh,
if you see this, the third challenge, if you follow my screen, there is a challenge in challenge three where devise a scalable and innovative financing and technical solution in line of sight to bring down the dairy tariff. When you are talking about dairy tariff, it means it's a kind of meter regulated thing that you need to calculate. For your case, for example, in automotive batteries, what I understood, correct me if I'm wrong.
onboard partner, we have a 16 kilowatt load. So he take a 16 kilowatt of amount of battery with us, and
Mhm.
and a station, yes, equipped with solar.
Sorry, can you please come again?
When we onboard any partner, he take
Mm-hmm.
to 20 watt of load with us in terms of battery,
Mm-hmm.
and and a swapping machine equipped with
Mm.
solar.
Okay, that's okay. But in terms of the tariff, if you see the challenge in challenge three, in terms of tariff, the tariff is technically borne by you, correct? You are taking a supply from a utility probably and having a own solar generation unit, correct? For
So
the swapping station.
we make a system.
Sorry.
We basically make a on-grid system. We take
Mm.
it on-grid and
Mm.
compensate by solar.
Yes. So it's basically you are paying a tariff to a particular discount at this point of time, correct?
Yeah.
So your tariff is technically, for example, 8 rupees or 9 rupees or whatever it is, depending upon the state. So what we are talking in this, you are on the opposite side of the solution actually. What we are asking for in this year, we are asking for example, a innovative financing or technical solution to bring the dairy tariff to 4 or lower. It cannot be 4 at this point of time, but it should be lower than 7, 8 or 10, whatever it is.
How about
So
looking into this way, like if the solar capacity in his premises has been upgrade, and that energy generated by him, and provided to an end consumer via fully solar, Does it relatable with your challenge?
Uh, Technically, if you see, uh, the solar panels will generate energy and excess will go to the grid. You are talking about utilizing the 100% of solar energy for your battery charging. You are talking about, right?
I'm talking off-grid system now.
Okay, if you are talking about off-grid system, so putting an off-grid system, we will utilizing the 100% of the energy that is coming via solar panel to the EV charging, correct?
Yeah.
So in this scenario, do you find anywhere the tariff is coming into place anywhere? If it is a off-grid system, there is no mechanism of tariff, correct?
Yes. No mechanism of
So
tariff.
you cannot technically, uh, do the off-grid or on-grid or whatever it is to bring down the tariff.
Okay, but when you say the amount of installation of solar,
Mhm.
uh, so kilowatt hour, and with respect to its working, right? Like if let's say if the solar is required for next 10 years, an amount of energy he will consume by it. Uh, we have technically some sort of figure which will be comparatively less than the energy he will consume by a grid in 10 years of time.
So if I may just chip in, if you feel like your solution somewhere is kind of, connected with this directly, indirectly, we would. The reason is because we might have a statement here, but if we also look at an alternative solution which we might not have thought about, the jury will still consider if it's a promising solution. So, in terms of your connectivity, what Abhishek was trying to answer was whether it directly contributes to DRE tariff aspect or not. But if you feel like you have some sort of model where technical capacity, what you mentioned about storage, etc. If you feel you can connect it with one of these challenge statements with your model of business and the kind of outputs you are able to generate over next 1 year, what's your big aim, right? With the funding that you might receive, just explain that in the application. It's fine. While we review, we will categorize it separately. So we are open to that as well. So yeah, I would just encourage you to look at the technical evaluation criteria per challenge and see where your solution is most adjustable to. All of this is also available on our website. Really, this is a short version of what we are presenting. But if you look at our website, just entice.org.in, you will be able to find everything in details. And I would just encourage you to spend some time there and apply accordingly.
With all the candidates over here, like in a way, or we have to go with to a website and get it.
You have to go through the website. There's an application process, so you'll have to register yourself on the website. You'll have to create an account, and then there are like some set of 5 to 6 questions that you'll have to answer, which is what's your business model like? How big is your market? What's your technical feasibility, financial viability of the general aspects that any evaluation committee will have to look at. So there are some 5 to 6 questions that you might have to answer. If you don't want to be like extremely descriptive for now, that's fine. But if you still can leave some direction of what your product is all about, what solution do you operate in, what's the market size, and how do you plan to scale it up? Because we are also focused on deploying the solution in the market, right? Because we are intended towards Series A. So let's say if you were to win $1 million fund, then that funding also needs to be justified with your scalability aspect, right? Otherwise, it becomes seed funding. So we are interested in seeing that. And if you think that your solution is not at that level of getting, commercialized immediately, but you are looking at some sort of seed funding, that's also okay.
What
Still apply. We are looking at a portfolio approach. So we might have 3 to 4 solutions worth Series A. We might have 3 to 4 solutions where we will give seed funding. So we are also open to that mixed approach of funding.
just last question, like what is the timeline of execution of these the projects you will onboard with you? Like, do you have any timeline like this? It should take 1 year, or let's say less than 1 year, anything?
So as of now, we are looking at 1 year. no, it's not like you have to achieve all of this in 1 year, but the funding technically, because of certain compliance issues that happens with the fund, we have to produce our audit reports after 1 year of distributing that fund. So let's say if you get onboarded, let's say by March next year, by the time the money is deployed, your due diligence is done, etc. What Abhishek was trying to say. So maybe April 2024 to April 2025 is what we will be looking at. In 2025, the investors will either want, to see the results, or I don't know, like all of that. So 1 year is what we are looking at. 2025 is realistically what you can aim to think about.
I understood
March,
from
April.
you, the fund realization of this whole process, evaluation process, will take at least 1 year uh, to fall into any startup, right?
No, not 1 year. That's the confusion. If you guys would have allowed more time, I would have taken you through the evaluation process as well. No, the evaluations will happen immediately. So, in fact, we are already doing evaluations on rolling basis. Our deadline was July 31st. We have extended the timeline only because we got requests from certain startups who wanted to apply. So now it's August 15th. But our aim is to at least do the first level of evaluations where we will shortlist 25 solutions based on the applications that you all have submitted. And then you will have to present through the entire degree. So October, November is what we are looking at. By the time money gets deployed, let's say if you get shortlisted to win Series A funding, your money transaction might happen next year in March, but we will already do our due diligence by end of December. That's our aim. So next 4 months is what we are planning to log. Yeah. Next year we will be in the rollout phase. It will not be evaluations anymore, but it will be deployment of the fund as well as monthly processes that we might have to put in place.
Evaluation is already in process.
Yeah, evaluations will happen by October end because we will be announcing the winners on 1st November, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I see some other people's hand also up. Akash, you want to go next?
Yeah, my answer is addressed in last question only, but still I will ask one question. So we're working in electromechanical high-speed flywheel energy storage system. So my question is like, if this competition is based for idea to POC or POC to market? If it is idea to POC, then will you be supporting financially to develop that product or what?
Our focus is POC to market. That's our primary focus. We are not looking at initially. We were not looking at idea to POC, and that's only because otherwise then it becomes seed funding innovation challenge, not Series A. So we are looking at solutions which are ready to be launched or scaled up in market. So let's say if you have some sort of I'm not from the technical background, but let's say if you are able to manufacture 100 batteries in a day, and now you're looking at a capital to be able to manufacture 1,000 in a day. That's the kind of solution that we would be looking at, which can eventually focus on other areas. But if you only have a concept node on a paper without any prototyping, research, iterations, then it will be difficult for us. Because this year we are focused at Series A. But
Okay.
if you do have some sort of experience, you might not be, let's say, with 7 or 8 years of experience, but you still have done 3 to 4 years of, reiteration, product fit. But you now want to see whether your product is actually going to work. You want to test through a pilot, which will definitely offer you a seed funding. We will consider that, but naturally, your funding capital would be much more lesser than somebody of a series A. So you might not win 1 million, you might win only 500,000. Something like that. So the funding capital will be different, and the ways that you will be mentored will be slightly different, right? So that's the logic that we are taking. But our precedence is definitely to look at market, solutions which are commercialized, can be commercialized within a short period of time, some sort of maturity.
Okay, fine. Because what is there? We are bootstrap startup, and we have developed and prototype. Let's consider that our one flywheel energy means one bank is like 1 kWh, and what we have done, we have developed a prototype of like 100 watt till now. But if you want to like go for 1 kWh, so in start it is a cost expensive process for us. So in that you will be helping us to develop that prototype, because that takes around like 1 month time to
Got it.
demonstrate that 1 kilowatt hour of a system, and to go for 10 kilowatt hour. So we need to do like a banks of like 10 batteries, like
Got it.
that kind of thing. So
So
in
Akash,
that you will be like helping us to develop that.
I understood your question. So Akash, I would still ask you to apply, because yes, if your solution is something which is more visionary, can take a prototyping development and all is fine, but how do you connect it with the larger outcomes, right? If you are able to narrate that as part of your application, let's say if you win certain amount of funding, what will you use it for? If you are able to, do that manufacturing that you mentioned, 10 megawatt hour or whatever, then what is the social and economic impact that it might have in the renewable energy space, right? So if you can just logically connect all of these dots as part of your application, I'm pretty sure that the program will be open to give you funding for prototyping or reiterating around that as well. Like I said, we started off with our initial thinking of focusing only on Series A, but like you, we have spoken to around 500,000 startups already, right? And we have understood that a lot of startups also want to do prototyping, also want to do a little bit of testing. So we have actually now taken a portfolio approach. So while we will still look for 3 to 4 solutions which can be of Series A level, we might pick 4 to 5 solutions for seed funding. Now, how you want to use that funding, whether you want to prototype, whether you want to do a pilot, whether you want to do, I don't know, something else, that is completely up to you. Of course, that will be then traced back mentor that you will be allotted. That I think I've understood. Please apply. Just connect the dots of your vision with
Because
that.
our pricing might meet these 15K INR kilowatt hour when it will be like in a larger quantity. Like
Yeah, that
we are producing like in larger scale. At that time, we will somewhat meet this 15K, because we have done the like cost analysis and everything we have done earlier only. The only thing is to do a pilot. So
Hmm.
we need like funds for that. So for
Apply for the challenge. It's fine. I think we can put it under a different category where solutions are looking for piloting this thing product. So yeah, that funding can be done
yeah,
differently.
because
That's
our levelized cost is will match this
got
amount.
it. Got it. Got it.
LCOE cost will match this 15K INR per
Got it.
kilowatt hour.
that's the thought process, Akash, to reach that particular number, and maybe you have the solution not at scale or not at ground, but just to help
And
like you
our
people.
battery is like a pure mechanical battery, and the life of like battery is 30 years.
Okay, great. So mention
So
all
that is
these
our
Just
USP.
mention
It's a purely
and you
mechanical battery.
just mention
Flywheel.
this, and also mention that for you to reach 15,000 INR per kilowatt, you will have to scale the manufacturing or the production
Right.
cost, which might require, let's say, 1 year or something like that, because the funding might happen only for this year, but next year also we would want to expand. No, so if you have achieved your prototype and now you feel like you can increase the manufacturing level and achieve this tariff, we will still help you with a second round of funding next year.
Sure.
So it is a pipeline that we are building, right? It's not just about what's happening in 2023. It's also about taking that solution eventually to market and commercialization in a long run, right? So
Okay.
thanks, Akash.
Thanks for
Anderson,
addressing my question. Thank you.
no worries. Anderson, you are next. Do you want to
Yeah,
ask any
yeah.
questions?
I just wanted to ask is that about the third part. Most of the questions were already answered, but just only what I was trying to understand is that once the funding to any startup, your capacity for is 20 kilowatt, right? For the DRE tariff, 4 unit or lower. I think we are actually directly would be contributing to this part only, I believe, because
Okay.
we are working on a printable solar technology, right?
Hmm.
I just wanted to know, after funding, you all are seeing a minimum capacity, or that 20 kilowatt is variable?
Yeah, so this is minimum capacity, because the minimum is the size, the higher is the cost, correct? So if we
Uh-huh.
are talking about scale,
Mm-hmm.
so for example, above 20 kilowatt, anything is fine. Okay.
Okay.
So that's a
Okay.
benchmark of 20 kilowatt because putting up a 20 kilowatt plant and putting up a 50 kilowatt plant, the cost competitiveness is almost on the higher side for the 20 kilowatt because of the
Mhm.
infrastructure cost and XYZ other things. Okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
so that is the basic thing, and that should be the other rating should be higher of 20 kilowatt only.
So,
That is
so,
not an
so
issue.
two things. If it is direct, then I believe that would be a distribution plant, 20 kilowatt. And if it is indirect, then I believe that's a manufacturing plant, right?
If you're
When it
talking
comes to
about,
solar, yeah, when it comes to solar.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, because most of the tariff will reduce by that's the thing, no? The most of the tariff that would be reduced, it would be by the solar technology that is being we are working on that can contribute to the tariff being reduced
Yeah,
by.
absolutely, absolutely. The
Uh,
main components that comes in solar is more than 50% or 60% is the solar modules only. So if that
uh-huh.
cost gets reduced, the tariff will already will only get reduced on the
Yeah,
capex
so
side.
I was actually talking about 20 kilowatt manufacturing, not distribution. So that is only what I was talking about. So we would be either, I believe, only indirectly contributing to it. So that was, I just wanted to clarify. It's like, is it like distribution, or you're talking about like power generation and manufacturing? So that's what I was asking. So either we can do power generation or manufacturing. So we just want to do manufacturing with the startup part right now, not power generation.
Okay. So in terms of, if you have any known partner or any known organization who is working into generation, so see,
Uh-huh.
you will be selling the product to someone, right? Any
Absolutely, yeah.
companies.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have that entity enrolled into it, or you can do the connect in the
Mm-hmm.
PPT or presentation, whatever you are applying for.
Okay.
That is
Mm-hmm.
directly or indirectly. What Neha mentioned few minutes back is how you are directly or indirectly correlating with the challenge. So
Got
you
it. Got it.
are probably in the manufacturing scenario
Correct. Correct.
that will be reducing the tariff, correct? Because
Yeah,
all
absolutely. Yeah.
the sets of capex that is required for
Mm-hmm.
putting up a plant, it's already set. So no one was thought of, for example, the printable technology what you were talking about. So that
Mm-hmm.
gives the other angle of our thought, how to frame this particular thing. Yeah, you can apply
Correct.
and you can mention those particular things what you are talking about.
Sure. 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 Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Rajesh, you next.
Yeah, thanks. So, my question maybe is related to the second one, is what I'm assuming. But then, see, I mean, the second one focuses on aggregation, right? I mean, how
Yes.
much of an aggregation can be done at scale? And when you say aggregation, the aggregation can start at 5 to 10 kilowatt, amounting to 100 megawatt at scale, right?
So
Or even more.
yeah. We are considering minimum of 1 megawatt and onwards because these are all, if you see, land sizes or the thought process behind this is to have minimum size of 1 megawatt that is close to the distribution substation to feed into the distribution substation directly. So
Okay,
it can vary. It can be 4 megawatt or 5 megawatt in certain places. It can be 1 megawatt in certain places, like that.
okay, nothing less than that is what I
Yeah.
understand. Okay, okay, thank you.
I think to present the slides.
If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to ask. But this is what we actually wanted to mention was that the evaluation will be looking, we will be levels of evaluation. The first one is we will be shortlisting around 100, and then GIAB will be handing over that 100 set of solutions to a evaluation committee where we will actually have, partners, 4 to 5 set of different partners who will be evaluating, who will be conducting interviews with you directly. Mahindra, RMI, etc. So all of the industry in Smart, people who really understand the sector and have been in the sector. And then eventually, once they give us the 15 shortlisted solutions as part of their evaluation, you will have an opportunity to present your solution directly with the entire jury. And these are the 7 members of ENTICE jury where you will be having a one-on-one conversation. All of this is also available on our website as well, but this is just to give you an idea. So we'll have people from, Mahindra, people, Telco Foundation, Harish Hande, Ravi, who was the ex-chairman of Microsoft and now the chairman of GEAPP. Urvashi Devi Dayal, she used to work at IntelliCap, and Akanksha Gulati, she's part of the ACTS grant. She heads that organization. Again, Tech for Bharat is their focus. Then Mahua Acharya, she has worked a lot with Convergence Energy and with the government directly. And we have Mr. Jayant Sinha, who's a member of parliament, who will also be joining us for the final evaluations. So you will have an opportunity to present directly to these people. And these are the specifications under each of the challenge. So some of the questions that we heard, I think, were geared towards the matrix or the evaluation criteria. So if you want to understand how you will be evaluated specifically from the evaluation committee, these are the parameters that we are looking at, right? So the kind of chemistry that you use, the cost structure, how much of cost structure have you been able to bring down, etc. So per challenge, we have kind of identified technical evaluations. All of this is again applicable, and you can read more on our website as well. So that's about it. And then eventually, in the month of October, we will be looking at conducting some sort of virtual boot camp where we will be connecting you with the some of the experts directly. So you will have an opportunity to have engagement with them one on one. So if you look at the GAP pitching showcase, which is October 20 to 28, this is where the entire jury will be interviewing you, and followed immediately investor marketplace, where apart from the entire jury, you will have an opportunity to pitch directly to the VCs. So apart from the ticket size that you can win out of the $10 million fund from GAP, alternatively, we are going to produce a platform for you to win that funding. And from 1st November to 3rd of November, we are going to conclude the whole entire series for this year, where, like I said, the top winning solutions will be awarded at IITD in New Delhi on 1st of November by Prime Minister Modi. So that's the timeline that we are looking at. Once we have announced all the winners, then we will look at deploying the funding that you have received to your accounts, and to be able to gauge what do you want to expect out of that. And we will give you 1 years of time to be able to use that funding in different aspects. So whether you want to prototype, you want to deploy, whether you want to commercialize, etc. So 1 years of timeline is what we are looking at. So by 2025 March, April, we would then like to see at least some results of where the funding was used, etc. Of course, monthly basis, we might have some processes in place to ensure that there is, some set structure, some sort of reporting, auditing that we are able to do, but all of that is still in the pipeline. We have not really established those as of now very, very clearly. Um, right. And eventually, and like I mentioned, our model really is to work with the partners who are from the sector already, and to also influence policies in the long run, both for startups as well as for the renewable sector. So this is just the last screen where you can see some of the partners that we have already onboarded, and the list is still expanding. So we can expect few more partners joining us. So the application deadline, the previous one was July 31st, but now it's extended to August 15th. This is not an updated slide. So August 15th is your last deadline. Please apply before that. And if you do have any questions, or if you felt like this was a short interaction, and if you want to get in touch with us, then you can write to us at support@entice.org.in, and you can CC me and Abhishek. Both of us take care of Entice as a platform. So we will be responding to you based on any queries that you might have. And if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch. August 15 is the timeline that we're looking at. Thanks again for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask now. Otherwise, we can conclude the call. Okay, guys. So thank you so much, Ria. I think there are no more
I guess,
questions.
yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, you already have our email addresses. You can always email us, and even if you think you might not directly apply, or your solution might not be relevant directly to Entice, but you still want to get in touch, because we are also in the process of creating market linkages for other solutions, which might not have been part of the challenge directly. So anything to do with renewable energy, and if you think that you are doing something in that, please feel free to get in touch. Next year onwards, our program is going to be scaled up to Asia. We already have heads up from Vietnam, and eventually our plan is to take this to Africa as well. So we are also looking at solutions which are not only valid in India, but can we provide you international market entries to penetrate Asia as well as Africa, right? And some of our partners also have connected in the US, so potentially also targeting the US market. But your solution obviously needs to be geared towards some of these challenges. For next year, we are going to expand the scope of these challenges. We have been getting a lot of recommendations like on e-cooking, hydro, etc. So for next year, we might tweak the challenges a little bit additionally. So for anything under the sun that you feel like you must connect with us, feel free to write, and we will try and get in touch with you and talk at length about all the possibilities. So again, thank you, Ria, so much for facilitating and being so patient with us. And I know that operationally and logistically today was a challenge. I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, once again, thank you so much, Neha, Abhishek, and Bhavika, for your clearance, and all the startup those are joining with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.